Hello and welcome to Good Art the Podcast number 13, episode 13. It's a big one. I think I always say that, but it's true. A little bit of background before I get into introductions. January, I was shown this genre of music called Gqom by a good friend. Gqom is being mainly produced in South Africa right now. It's a really hard-hitting, sort of simple, repetitive electronic music, club music, and I can't get enough of it. So I decided I needed to seek out some producers and artists who are making Gqom and find out just sort of what and where this comes from. So along the way, I reached out to Athie Umgido from the duo Umgido and his other half, Da Fresh. Both of them are producers in South Africa and make Gqom. They also make Afro House and Kwaito. So the story sort of evolved into less of an investigation, if you will, into Gqom and more of a conversation with Athie and Da Fresh and the sort of music and people that they work with and where they come from. So up first is my interview with Athie. It'll be followed by my interview with Da Fresh, and then at the end we have a 35-minute mix that Athie put together for the episode. I'll try and timestamp it if I can figure that out, but the tracks will all be listed in the description of the episode. How you and Da Fresh decided to work together and work as a duo and talk about African music concepts.
Yeah, now I can start with how we met up with the fresh. I think since we were both living in East London, there weren't a lot of producers that we, kind of trusted with their work. So, but we as producers used to share our work amongst each other. I remember when he sent me a couple of tracks, and then there was one that he wanted to remix, which was mine. And I liked it. Back then, I don't lie, maybe I'd say I was maybe, there was a radio show that I used to host, which was called Palesa, but it was in Kumkan FM, but it's a government station, local, it's called a community radio station in South Africa. If it's a station that, something like an independent radio station. So I had a show there, so a lot of people used to send me their songs for me to play on the show. But there were a few that I just select and be like, okay, maybe I can do something with this guy. Maybe I can work on a song. Either it's a vocal or maybe we're gonna finish the song together. So yeah, that's how we started working with Da Fresh. We used to send each other songs. He'd remix my songs, I'd remix his songs, and then we started calling each other Da Fresh and Athie. But now this year we started calling ourselves Umgido, which makes it much easier. If you're saying Da Fresh and Athie, now a person is gotta differentiate which one is Da Fresh, which one is Athie. But if it's just one unit, which is Umgido, like a duo, we thought it's even for people to catch to be able to get our music on the internet. It's gonna be much easier to search Umgido than to search Da Fresh or Athie or Da Fresh and Athie. It becomes just too much admin.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's about how me and him met up. It's because of sharing music in South Africa. I think it's mainly because of, in SA, it's not easy to share your music. It's not easy to share music to the world, so you'd rather send it to whoever it is that's close to you. Make sure they hear it, make sure they love it, and then that's where we get most of our approval.
From
locally.
from the local community or musicians producers
Yeah, mostly from the local community because they're the ones that, especially kids, they're the ones that plays the song. Then you can just pick it up if the song is gonna go far once everyone starts listening to it over and over again. And luckily, our songs back then, that's what people used to do with our songs. Like we weren't as commercial as being called South African artists, but we didn't know. A lot of people knew us, but yeah, through sharing music via WhatsApp
Cool. And
or shared.
yeah. So you guys used to be an admin for what was once called Durban Music Concepts, right? And then you guys changed it
It
to
was,
African Music
yeah,
Concepts.
yeah. But on that one, we don't do with this the fashion artist. I'm the one that's doing with another guy from Durban called Jabulo. Yeah, it's now called African Music Concepts.
And how has it changed since you guys changed the name? Like you're trying to widen the
Yeah,
scope of who you promote and who you produce, right?
yeah. I think it has changed. The way people see what they should do with their music. Because back then, it was like you do a song and then if someone doesn't come and collect it to you via a USB disk or you don't put it on your phone and send it to people, then no one is gonna be able to listen to it. But I think now South Africa, it's something that has been happening, but not necessarily in the townships, mostly in the suburban areas. Where I think now most people listen to music on the internet, but now the wave is slowly, even coming towards us here in the townships. But the most benefit about the channel though is that there's people from Germany. There's you. I'm sure you found the channel. You found the channel out on YouTube even without us telling you to go and listen to it. There's Radio Primavera, which we had something like a deal where they let us push one mix each month. Our one mix from African Music Concept will be aired on Radio Primavera. So that's quite a huge opportunity for some of us that haven't traveled overseas. Because of our music. It gives you that hope that someone out there is listening to your music and greater things might happen soon, rather than not even knowing who likes your song. Rather than the song ending, maybe letting it be heard by just 3 or 4 people by the neighborhood, and then decide that okay, no, it's dead now. Now the song will now have I'd say much more will last more than usual. Because if someone in Uruguay likes a song and then the following week someone from Brazil picks it up, it's better than it being listened all in South Africa, especially only in our own neighborhoods. So that's how it has changed the music scene, especially the Gqom music scene in South Africa.
Yeah, you're expanding the audience of Gqom to a worldwide
Exactly.
audience. Yeah.
Yeah. Now at 5FM, which is I think it's the second biggest station in South Africa, where I've got features that I'm handling that I'm adminning on my own. Something called the Gqom track of the week, where I get to showcase my favorite Gqom track of the week from any South African producer, be it someone from Durban, Cape Town. And I'm slowly trying to change the fact that Durban is a place where you can only find Gqom. There's some dope cats in Cape Town, in East London, in Durban, in Joburg as well. So yeah, that's what I'm busy with now. And I'm trying to get mixes of DJs into like live stream real radio. Yeah, and unheard music to be heard.
Right. The 5FM thing, that along with the African music concepts. That was how I initially found you
Yeah.
when I was digging for some Gqom.
Oh yeah, don't call.
What was your last single? What was that called?
Our last single was called Masheleni. We dropped it under Fifth Season, which is also kind of like a big label in South Africa. I think it's top two in the best indie labels here. So we dropped a single there, but I don't think it's gone good, or maybe they're gonna push it more. Yeah, but now we're currently working on another single, which is gonna be dropping on the 28th of August, and after that we're gonna be dropping two more singles. No, we're gonna be dropping a single again, and then we're gonna be dropping two singles. So there's quite some music coming through from us.
Yeah. Blaze sent me the new single that I'm not allowed to talk about. He asked me not to talk about it, but
Okay.
but
Okay.
but that single is
I,
fantastic, and I am very excited
yeah.
for that to come out. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. You know that one is a new song called Amapia, and as much as we'd like to be known for Gqom, we think it's kind of it's only fair enough that you can use your versatility. You can't be able to produce Afro house music and tell yourself that no, I'm doing Gqom. I can't do Afro as much as I can be able to produce it, but I don't want to do it. So we don't want to follow into that you know that those kind of footsteps of people that we've seen in the music industry saying that no, they only want to do one thing, and then when that thing is not in demand anymore, they start hopping onto other things. So that's what we're trying to do now to make sure that people know that what we're capable of and the kind of sounds that we can kind of do.
Yeah, you guys are so versatile. There's no, I mean, you guys make incredible Gqom music, but there's no reason you shouldn't be doing Afro House. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Even the way our songs are structured, someone might not even think it's home. They might think it's something else and something completely new. So that's the good part about not boxing yourself into something that you might not even see that you're not doing it anymore, or you've changed it, you've upgraded it. But for the fact that you want to stay true to it, you say that you will never change. You will only do Gqom in your life. That's kind of yeah. It's one-sided way of thinking.
yeah, lim- as an artist, limiting yourself, that's cutting yourself off from, so many opportunities
Exactly.
and like certain forms of
Yeah.
growth that are so
Yeah.
important.
Exactly. Because the common thing that we usually, especially with the festival scene here in Cape Town, because I think South Africa, the most leading electronic music festival scene is in Cape Town. But what they usually look for here, they look for stuff that they already know. If you are com DJs, like they're too skeptical to put you on the lineup because they don't know how people are gonna feel, and they've been doing the same lineup for years and nobody's been complaining. So yeah. But as long but if you're versatile, it makes it much easier. Maybe say you're gonna submit a mix to someone and then do a mix which is kind of like a bit more Afro than Gqom. That means you stand a greater chance of being featured on the event because you're versatile. You're not like if they don't want Gqom, they can kind of improvise and put you in.
Hmm.
If your music sounds nice, it's not like so hardcore.
Right. So I think that's so I think I like Gqom because it is sort of it's hardcore like electronic
Yeah,
music and it's really
raw.
intense. Yeah, raw.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it's still considered outsider music or like, it's a little
yeah.
too extreme.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Kind of like because when it first emerged, we used to see it as it's not kind of music that can be put on radio. But now look, Beyonce did a song with a guy called DJ Leg. Shares a song with the song also features Musi. So it was an artist from South Africa, one of the best female artists, Moonchild, Chaneli.
Mhm.
So that's quite a milestone for Gqom. Because that song is Gqom. It's not like it's even more hardcore than our songs. That's how cool it is. But Beyonce jumped on it. And it's one of the best tracks from the album. Black is King.
How did you get into the music scene?
The whole music thing. Well, basically, to me, it runs in the family. I'd say so, because my my grandpa was actually a pianist. You know, my dad was into jazz, and my mom, she she still sings, by the way. So I guess that's how it got into my DNA. But my first interest came a long time ago. I was still in preschool. Then I grew up. I remember back then at school, like I used to beatbox a lot. You know,
Mhm.
that was before. the softwares that we actually use nowadays were available. I think different softwares were available then for those type of people, not for the new age, um, like in our generation. You understand? So in doing that, like I started doing mixes and playing around with computer stuff, and you understand, up until I got introduced to a software that you understand that could make me create um, my own type of idea, my own type of music. You understand? So that's when I started falling more and more in love with music, and I thought I should actually take this route. You understand? This is actually what I want to do in life, and that was early in primary. We call it primary, but I don't know if you guys call it preschool or anything like that before you get into high school and or like varsity and stuff. So back then, probably in my seventh grade.
Oh yeah, yeah. We call that primary school.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was back in primary. I decided then and then that this is the route I want to take in life. You know.
And that was basically because of the softwares and stuff, or did you start out doing other music, or it was really like when you got your hands on like Fruity Loops or like some kind of like software?
Yeah, I was you know what, I was researching on what to produce because at that time I used to mix other people's music, and I thought for me that was not enough because I had my own ideas going on at the time. And
Yeah.
that obviously it wasn't something easy by then, but I just got a little tired of actually working with other people's music, like fusing acapellas and somebody else's beats, and that was not enough for me. Understand? So I just had to do some research on what I could do to be able, like, to make um, my own form or my own type of music. Then that's when I got introduced to the Fruity Loops, the Cubases, and all the softwares that you can actually produce in. And I started working from there. You understand? So that's how everything started. It wasn't easy, but yeah, I had to find my own way, because pretty much I'm a self-taught producer. But I'm very grateful for that, because at the same time, it allowed me to be me. You understand? Rather than just, sometimes when people teach you how to do things, you end up doing things like them, not like you. So it's not like 100% yourself. It's not you being you. It's just that you're just taking whatever basics that certain person told you to do, and you actually following those footsteps. You understand?
Yeah.
But with me, like, I don't know, it just took a while, and as producers, we have the time where you actually listen to how you sound now, and you actually play your old music, and you're like, what was I thinking? You understand?
Right.
And you laugh about it, but yeah, you don't miss a step.
When did like Gqom become part of your life? Like Athie has a funny story about his first experience listening to it and like noticing it. Like, do you remember
Yeah,
you?
I well, you know what, when I was starting to produce, like, when I got to understand production more and grow in it and actually call myself a producer, I was actually producing commercial house music. Like, that's your normal house, and we call it commercial because it has there's a genre called Kwaito here. It's like you do a house with melodies and then you bring that vocalist who's going to be able to. It's more like rapish type of house music, but it's just, I don't know. It has a lot to do with I don't know, vintage things or rhyming, and it's not like bars type of rapping. It's just how we do it, like here in South Africa. You understand? Then I fell in love with that, and I pushed that, and I started receiving like positive feedback from people, and I was like, you know what, this is me, this is my style. You understand? So I'm sticking to this. And then came along Gqom. It's funny because when Gqom came through, I was like, I am never touching that. Since back then it just came, it was so raw and it felt effortless. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It was just basically your string, kick, your bass, and then you are done. But what I was doing back then, I had to put a lot of effort. You understand? Like you had to put your pianos, you make sure you get your melodies right. The beat had to be proper. You understand? So I was just used to working, and for me, Gqom just sounded so simple to a point where I was like, you know what? No, that will not be me anytime soon. And then, being the person that I am, I remember I had a close friend. He came to me, and then he knew a couple of boys who were actually doing Gqom. You know, because a lot of producers came through in the Gqom era when Gqom started, and then you started to get a lot of producers, because all you need for Gqom is just a laptop. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need no fancy. You don't need to get it mixed and mastered, and in most cases, you understand. So there were a lot of raw producers in and out of the Eastern Cape or South Africa at large. So this guy came up to me, and he was like, "Yo, dude, I know you're a good producer, and I just want you to work with these boys. They're still growing up, and you know, the only thing that I had, and the only thing that people knew me about, was being humble. So I was like, you know what, dude, okay, bring them to the studio, and then we'll see what we actually do." And then he brought them, I think a week later, he brought them. So we worked on that song, which was very Gqom-like. And then I remember I started putting melody in a Gqom track. Here, a Gqom track is just a simple song, just one string, and that's it, the whole 5 minutes, you understand? So we just went in a different routine. And then, yeah, it started clicking and getting to, like, you started to feel it, and it was working. It worked so properly to a point where we just leaked that song after we were done with it, and then everybody went crazy. You know, it was a new sound to people's ears. Like people were like, "Whoa, this works! Gqom and melody, this really, really works." And I was an outgoing person by then. I used to go out clubs and stuff like that. So I think for the first time, I actually heard my song being played, being there. You know, not like going to a DJ and actually requesting a song,
Yeah.
or it gets played in favoritism because you're there. Like the DJ had no idea that I'm there, but then he was just playing the jam that everybody was feeling at the moment. It was like, whoa, this actually sounds way better here at the club with all the speakers. And I was like, you know what, I want more of this, you know. And then since then, my versatile is the thing right now. You can't say no, you don't do this, you don't do that. And then I dropped another one, and I think that in that period I got to meet Athie, you know, because Athie was he was into events. Athie is also a producer. He's a vocalist, one of the most versatile people that I knew. You know, so I got to meet him. We did a collaboration on a song. We put it out. It was a Gqom song, similar to the one that I just talked about. And people fell in love with that one again. We were like, whoa, let's do another one. Then out of all of that, we just became brothers, you know. I think after releasing that song, we never stopped working with each other. And then that became our sound. We started adopting the Gqom sound with melodies, you understand, because people were going crazy over it at the time. So that's when I got labeled as a Gqom producer, you understand. And then I worked with that, and then we were labeled as Gqom producers, you know, because I was doing more commercial also, and Afro House and Kwaito, you know. And then we just became like family, and we started doing this Gqom thing together. So up until today, that's how I became a Gqom fanatic, like a Gqom producer.
All right, that concludes the interview portion of the show. Up next is the mix that Athie made. I'm going to let that speak for itself and sign off here. Enjoy the mix. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Fresh.